This is Music, and this is another episode of Maid of Steel. Welcome to another episode of Maid of Steel. In these videos, I show you some of the items from my collection of Band-Maid releases, physical or digital, and I just talk about them so they are not reaction videos. In these videos, I also typically just highlight quickly a release by another Japanese band. I know some of you get mad at me for doing that. I don't know why, but I've done that all along. So here I just want to first highlight Beat of Metal Motion by Vow Wow. This is 80s metal with a good dose of melodic hard rock and AOR. Amazing lead guitar work, fantastic vocals, a clear influence in places from Deep Purple and from Led Zeppelin. It's a fantastic album. If you like 80s metal and hard rock, check this one out. Anyways, let's get down to business. Today we're going to talk about this one here, the Band-Maid Online Acoustic Okyu-ji CD. So this is a live album, as it were. It's the audio version of an acoustic show they did, and they streamed it live back in, lockdown times and all that stuff. So it's acoustic versions of some Band-Maid songs. Let's first have a look at the packaging. This is very cool if you collect Japanese pressings of vinyl records, because this is like a miniature version of that. And there are lots of cool details. Even this self-sealing outer sleeve is a miniature version of the typical outer sleeve that you get with a Japanese vinyl record. You have the front here, you have the back here. It comes with a fairly typical CD OB strip, and then you have the digi-sleeve, but here it almost kind of like serves as a miniature version of a record jacket. And if you pull out the contents, you got some really cool details too. Firstly, the CD comes in this kind of pocket inner sleeve. This is a miniature version of the typical pocket inner sleeves you get with Japanese vinyl records. The CD itself is pretty minimalistic. And I'll see if I can buy some of these sleeves, because I might have a use for them. And it also comes with this fold out insert, which is also kind of like a miniature version of the typical insert you get with a Japanese vinyl record. So although this seems like it's very minimalistic, it's actually very cool, especially if you collect vinyl and you're interested in Japanese pressings. Because like I said, it's like a miniature version of that, and you have lots of small cool details. And you might be asking yourself why I am showing this and why I always in these videos show you the physical aspect, the packaging. That's because if you collect physical music media, you will be interested in the packaging. A lot of collectors of CDs and vinyl and all that stuff are interested in the packaging. Anyways, let's talk about the music. So we have 14 tracks on here. They are acoustic versions. It's your campfire strumming, MTV Unplugged kind of live approach. Except Band-Maid don't look miserable. They don't look like they don't want to be there. They don't sound miserable. They don't sound like they don't want to be there either. So let's go through the songs. I'm going to start out by probably making some Maidiacs angry. The Maidiac fan community is very healthy, I think, and it's not toxic. But there's a small minority, and it's sadly a loud minority, of people that get angry at you if you say something about Band-Maid they don't like to hear. Even if you say something positive in a way they don't like, they'll get angry at you. And I think it's a shame. and it's a shame for the rest of the Band-Maid fan community. Anyways, the first song is Smile, and I have to say it's a bit of a shaky start, especially if you listen to it on headphones. The vocals, the lead vocals, and the backing vocals are not quite in sync. I think Saiki goes a bit too heavy on the vibrato there. And this is very normal. If you are or have been a performing artist, if you've been on stage with a band, you will know this to be true. 9 times out of 10, the first 2 songs, it is a process of basically getting warmed up. And I think that's basically what's going on here. You have to get a feel for the venue, for the crowd, and there's no crowd here really. That has to make it even more challenging. So you just have to get warmed up. And I think that's the case here. It's still a good listen, it's still a good version, it's just a bit of a shaky start. The next song is At the Drop of a Hat. I think this is a very good acoustic version of that song. And one thing that's very interesting is that you can actually hear things kind of falling into place. You can hear the ladies get warmed up and things starting to click as the song progresses. So towards the end of the song, it sounds fantastic. And I think this is a very interesting experience actually. The lead guitar works very well. The arrangement is very nice, and I actually have to applaud Akane for her laid back drumming. Playing drums in a non-noisy way is very difficult for a lot of rock drummers, but she's obviously mastered that. Sounds like a weird thing to applaud someone for, but it is very difficult for rock drummers to not play loud. You know what I mean? The next song is No God. This is where it begins for me. They've arrived. It's an up-tempo song, and I really like how they've kind of given it almost like a rockabilly drive. I really like that. It's not a rockabilly song, it just has a bit of a rockabilly drive. The chorus sounds great, it works very well, and Saiki sounds fantastic here. So No God is certainly a highlight song for me. It's followed by HGK, and this is very interesting. It's an intense song, and they've actually managed to make the acoustic version of it intense too, and that's very difficult too, with acoustic, an acoustic setup. But they actually managed to do that. I think Kanami joins in with some backing vocals along with Kubato, and of course you have Saiki doing the lead vocals. If it is Kanami singing, it works very well. The chorus works well too. Saiki sounds fantastic. Then you have 2 songs where it's only Kanami and Saiki, and as far as I remember from watching the show, they're kind of sitting facing each other, which is very nice when you know the relationship between the two as friends and band members and all that stuff. So the first one is Different. This is very interesting. Different is normally a very intense up-tempo song, but they've turned it into a very chill and melancholic version. Saiki sounds fantastic here, and Kanami does some very interesting backing vocals where she hits some very high notes, and it sounds very unique and it works very well. It's followed by Manners. That's normally a cool, groovy song, and they've actually retained the coolness. Saiki sounds great as usual. I do miss the oh part. I have to say that. It's very weird to hear it without that part. Then Misa joins in on Awkward. It's a very straightforward version with a lot of tenderness to it, and there's a very nice bass solo. And this is followed by Wonderland. That's a very nice melancholic version of it. And the highlight of this song, and one of my highlights of this CD too, is the falsetto notes that Saiki hits in this song. There's almost like a jazz feel to them, and they just sound amazing. So her falsettos is definitely a highlight for me on this CD. So that was Awkward and Wonderland. Then you have two Miku songs or Kobato songs. The first one is Time. This is a very, very nice version of it. It's kind of uplifting in a way, but also kind of melancholic. So in that sense, it's not too different from the original version. I've really grown to like Miku's voice a lot. Some of you get angry at me when I say this, but her singing doesn't sound as schooled as Saiki's singing. So her voice has a certain rawness to it, a certain vulnerability to it, and that just adds a nice sense of emotionality to the song. Uh, so I think this is another highlight for me. Time. Akane does some nice backing vocals here, and her drumming is nice and restrained. The next song is Sayonaki Dori. This is, to quote Mark from Wandering Souls web scene, a very pure version. It's very emotional, very tender as well. Kobato sounds great. There's a certain tenderness to her voice. I do miss the lead guitar part though. But apart from that, that's also a highlight for me, Sayonaki Dori. Then you get full instrumentation. Forward. It's a nice upbeat version. The lead and backing vocals work very well, and I think it's very cool that Akane plays the cajon here instead of her drum kit. The next song is Catharsis. It's another nice, chill, melancholic version. Again, the guitars work together very well. Just a nice version. The next one is Mirage. It starts out very simple, very stripped down, and then some things are added to it. It's very melancholic. I like the way they arranged it and structured it here. And then you get the last song, Page. The vocal melodies and harmonies work fantastically in this song. It sounds like there's some keys in the beginning. It's slow, it's melancholic, the vocals are tender. I think Saiki goes a bit heavy on the vibrato again here, but it works very well overall and it's a nice finisher. So I think this is a very nice acoustic CD. If you are a fan of Band-Maid and you can get a hold on it, I suggest that you pick it up. If you like acoustic rock, I think you could benefit from listening to this too. I really enjoyed listening to it. I've listened to it a ton. I really like listening to it. So generally, yeah, it's more like MTV Unplugged. It's not like more. It could have been like a classical guitar approach. It could have been like a jazz approach, but it's more like MTV Unplugged, and it works very well. I do prefer the original hard rocking versions of most of these songs. The ones from Conqueror, they actually work very well, and I think some of them I might prefer these acoustic versions. But very nice acoustic renditions of the songs. The highlights to me, well, Misa. She is the absolute highlight. Her bass work is fantastic. She is the centerpiece to me of this live show. Apart from Different Matters, because she doesn't play on those, but she's amazing. Her bass work is just fantastic here. Like I've said, Akane's restrained drumming, that is very admirable that she can actually do this. I also hold it up as a highlight that these are interesting versions that have been reworked and rearranged a little bit. It's also nice to hear Akane and Kanami do backing vocals. They do that live, at their normal shows, but here it's a bit more audible because everything is more chill and laid back. Highlight songs to me, I've already mentioned them, but I can go through them. No God is a highlight. Different and Matters, Time, Sayonaki Dori, and Page, and then everything Misa does in any song she's on. So there you have it. Band-Maid Online Acoustic Okyu-ji CD. A nice a CD version of the show. As far as I remember, there is some kind of banter between the members. There's some breaks where they talk. I think in one of them, Misa talks about not being drunk because she doesn't want to burp and all that stuff. That's missing from here. I think it would have been kind of fun had they kept the banter. Obviously, a lot of people that don't speak Japanese wouldn't have understood anything. But apart from that, it's a very nice kind of like audible version of the live show. Like I said, if you like acoustic rock, check this out. If you like Band-Maid, check it out. If you like acoustic settings, but you thought MTV Unplugged was a bit too full of misery, check this out. It's a very nice listen. I've listened to it a ton. There are some shaky parts. They need to get warmed up. And I think maybe towards the end, they're kind of maybe anxious because it's almost the end of the show, right? Again, I've been on stage. I've, performed live. I recognize a lot of this. So I think they just needed to get warmed up in the beginning. After that, everything is fantastic. Saiki sounds awesome on here. Her falsettos, they're just in the house. Just amazing. So there you go. Thanks for watching.